Hey guys, Nick Drossos, and welcome to another episode of Have the Balls to Talk About It. Today I'm with my man Poseidon.
Yo, yo.
Yo, Poseidon, what's up? And what I wanted to talk about is the hair transplant. I got so many questions about my hair transplant. I posted a video on it, and we're actually right now, you guys could see, I don't know how much you could see, we're 5 months in. And I posted a picture on Instagram. I posted some pictures on our community, and a lot of people had so many questions. I said, you know what? I can't even write them by email. I go, it'd be so much easier to explain them. So my first question, and the most common one, is, did it hurt? So a lot of the guys that are reaching out to me is like, Nick, did it hurt? Right? So did it hurt? No. The only time it hurts is a little bit when you get the needles in the back. It feels like a little pinch. So I took about maybe 10 or 12 needles, if I remember correctly, where they freeze it. That's pretty much the only time it hurt, and kind of felt like I was wearing a helmet. In terms of the, taking out the hair or putting in the hair, you literally don't feel anything. So there's no pain. The only part that might have been somewhat discomfort was, believe it or not, more than anything is like sleeping at night. Because I did 2 days, I had to roll a towel and put my head on it. That was the most annoying part than anything else. And the truth is, after 5 hours of doing my hair transplant, it was 2 days, I went to the restaurant, I ate. So it wasn't full 5 hours. It was about, if I remember correctly, maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours of taking out the hair, and maybe another hour or 2 hours of putting on the hair. And I took a break of an hour. So it was about 5 hours. So
not even during the healing process, you felt any pain?
The healing process, no, nothing.
Really?
Yeah, it was really smooth.
Because I've seen online videos and I've seen guys do it, and they talk about how painful it is, the healing process.
So it's because I did DHI, and we've talked about the difference between FUE and FUT and DHI. So DHI is direct hair implant. So the way that method is a lot less invasive. So the recovery was a lot faster. It was, I don't like this shit. I'd rather get punched in the face, but this, I could say that it was really.
What about the PUBIC method?
What's that?
I'm just making a dumb joke. I'm sorry.
So the other question I got is, I did it in Greece. So why did I go to Greece and why not in Turkey? Originally, I got a call and I spoke to somebody, that was in Turkey, because that is the hair kind of hub of the world. And I had a list of questions. So my partner's a surgeon, and she gave me a list of questions to ask him. And the first one was, I wanted to know, was it going to be a doctor who was going to do it? It was not going to be a doctor. It was a technician. Not to say a technician can't do a good job, but I would have preferred having a doctor do it. The other one was, I wanted to speak to a doctor prior to kind of do the assessment, and they told me I wasn't able. I'd only see the doctor when I get there to the clinic. So even the person I spoke to, I couldn't actually see. And for me, it just didn't make me feel safe. I wanted, especially if I'm going across another country, for some reason, I would feel safer talking to the doctor, meeting the doctor. I had a lot of questions. I wanted to really know, what does it mean, what I'm about to do, more in detail, because I've seen and I've heard of horror stories as well. So I was a little bit reluctant to go with that way. And then when I spoke to them in Greece at the DHI clinic, and I spoke first I had a consultation, and then without even booking anything, I spoke to the doctor, I had the nurse, they explained to me everything that they were going to do, how DHI works. I sent them pictures. I felt the involvement, and they explained everything from A to Z. They really went in detail, which made me feel safe and more comfortable, as well as knowing that the doctor is in the room, the doctor's doing it. So for me, I did feel it was enough for me to be like, okay, I'm going to go with this, which is interesting because I actually want to say something. When I called and I spoke to the people in Turkey and I sent my picture, They told me I needed 3,500 grafts. They're like, oh, 3,500. When I called and I spoke to the people in Greece and I sent them my picture, the doctor's like, you need 5,000 for sure. So even though it was a little bit cheaper in Turkey, I'm like, I would have had half a mop in my head because I did over almost 5,500 grafts. So it's cheaper, but I'm also getting half the hair.
And grafts is every hair follicle that's been pulled out and put it back in. Okay.
Right? So it was like, I mean, you're looking at the double. So, I mean, when I did the math, I was like,
And do you mind disclosing the price in Turkey and in Greece?
I'd rather not talk about the prices, but I could tell you it was almost, Greece was a little bit more expensive. But if I calculate doing 5,000 grafts, it would have been around the same.
So per graft, Greece is cheaper, but...
No, Greece is more expensive. Greece is more expensive, but when they gave me the price at 5,500, when they gave me the price of 3,500 grafts, right? It would have been the same price.
Well, exactly.
If I would have doubled it, right?
Exactly. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
So Greece was cheaper. It was more expensive to do the whole thing, but it was cheaper per graph.
Yes.
As opposed to Turkey, it was cheaper, but they were doing less grafts.
Yeah. So it would have came out to the same thing, right? So the other question I got was, how long did it take? So like I said, we did, I think it was like 5,800 grafts. I know it was over 5,500. It was 2 days, 5 hours a day. And today I just spoke to a friend who's going to go do it in Greece. And he's like, what did you do? The service was unbelievable. I'm not saying it because I'm really saying it because I got the best medical service I've ever had. And I'm not saying it because I'm Greek and they're Greek. It's really the treatment I got was unbelievable. And I said, you know what? You're going to see, I told them, you're going to watch TV. They're going to put on your Netflix or you could listen to a podcast. They were fixing my laptop how I wanted. I took a break. They served me food. I felt like,
wow.
It felt like it was a 5-star experience. So
wow.
It was like a 3 for me. It was like, wow, everything that I wanted. I didn't feel like I was in a medical treatment. Like I felt more like I was almost in a spa.
Did you feel like you were kind of getting a tattoo? It's like 5 hours each day. You know?
And I've got that too. It was about the same thing. At one point, I was just like kind of sleeping. I was just chilling, and the nurses were nice. They were talking to me, and I was like making jokes with them. So it was really, it was
Were they cute?
Were they cute?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So they were. So the service was exceptional, from the doctor to the nurses to the moment I walked in. What I loved about them, they were always smiling. Mr. Drossos, it must be exciting. You're doing your hair treatment. And to me, that was so important. And I think it's important when you're doing any type of procedure that you feel that kind of positive and happy vibe, because it is a good experience. You know what I mean?
Someone's going to be shoving needles in your scalp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to feel at ease.
At ease. Absolutely.
You know?
The other thing was, how long was the recovery? So right now I'm in 5 months in my hair treatment, right? So I started seeing it last month, where I turned around, I looked in the mirror, I was like, whoa, my hair's growing. My clients were like, shit, your hair, like people are like, my God, your hair is actually growing, right? And one of the things that I love is how natural my hairline is made. And I'm gonna, like today I was talking to a friend who's gonna do it, and he saw somebody who did it in Turkey, and he goes, Nick, it looked like a straight line. It was not natural. Literally, it was like a straight line. And the funniest story, and I say it, when I did it, when Dr. Mansoukis made the line, I was like, I want it here. And he's like, I'm not doing it there. I'm like, he goes, it's not going to look natural. I'm like, yeah, but I want to cover this. He's like, no. And I'm like, and then I was like, can you draw the line? So he drew the line, and then I sent it to my girlfriend, who sent it to a friend. He's like, no, that's the way it's supposed to be done. And what I loved about it is that they cared about making it look real. The idea is not for me to look like I'm 20, is to look like I'm 35. Because
I have to push back my hairline every time I go to the barber.
You have to?
I have to push it back, my hairline. My hair grows really low, and I get these hairs, and I gotta shave every time. I have the opposite problem with you.
Yeah, because had he done it the way I wanted, I'd have hair on my eyebrows right now.
Yeah, well, because if I let my hair naturally grow, I look like those Legos. Lego characters with a hair. I look like that. I look like not real. I look a bit bizarre.
That's hilarious.
I have podcasts where my hair is like that. I look absolutely ridiculous. So I get it.
So I love the fact that they took so much in consideration that the natural part of it, and I think it's really important that that it looks real. You know, even though I mean it's interesting because when I posted the pictures and I made videos, a lot of men reached out to me, and a lot of men don't want to talk about it. A lot of men are embarrassed, and I'm like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna lie. What happened? I magically grew hair? No, it shows, you know? And that's, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? There was a point I was kind of against doing hair transplant or treatments. I'm like, grow age gracefully, doesn't matter. But I could say something now with that I've experienced. And the question I was talking today is, did it boost my self-confidence? And yes, it has. Like, I'm looking at the camera right now and I can see my hair, and I would see other videos and you could see the bald spots and I could see the spaces through my hair. Even when I do my acting and I do my auditions, I was always a little bit self-conscious. Now, not to the point that I wouldn't go out and I would wear a cap most of the time. Like right now I'd be wearing a cap and I'd wear it backwards because you can't see the camera. So I mean, yes, did it boost my self-confidence? Yes, it made me feel more confident. It feels good to have my hair, and it's going to keep growing. It does make me more confident in terms of pictures. I'm less looking at how does my hair look? Do I wear a cap? What is the angle? And I mean, I don't want to sound superficial, but for a man, I think for most men, and a lot of men are reaching out to me, it does play a little bit of factor in your morale, especially if you're on camera or in the public eye even more. But I've seen either, like, you know, one of my friends is a real estate agent who's losing his hair. He's going to do it now too, because he sees it and he's like, I'm on camera all the time, right? And I'm also with clients, and, you know, again, there's something to say about doing it. So
I have a question.
Yes.
If you're going to do it,
yes,
should you wait until you have lost everything that you have lost?
Good question.
And then you go do it? Should you wait for that? Or, because let's say you start losing your hair and then you're halfway through losing your hair and then you go do it, but then you keep losing after you've done the hair transplant. Are you going to have to go again?
So that's a great question. So I did it at a perfect time, because what's important is that you have enough hair, like as a donor.
Yeah.
So I had enough hair on the side. It was balding on top and on the crown. So when they saw my hair, and it was really interesting, they take a machine and they look at your hair and they see which hairs are strong. And they really, I mean, it was really, they really went deep into like really breaking down my head and my hair and everything together. And it's better that you do it before you lose more hair.
Interesting.
Right? So if you're losing, like, I could always go back and do a touch up, meaning I could go back and maybe, you know, if I have, let's say I start losing a little bit more hair and I want to do a touch up and just add maybe 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 grafts, I still have enough hair in the back that I could do that. Right. So
I have a question. Sorry. Were you going to finish?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
The hairs that they pull out from the back, do they stop growing in the back or they keep growing?
Good question. I have no clue, actually. I have no clue. That's a good question. I wouldn't know. Maybe somebody else would know. I would have to find out. But one thing for sure, when you look at the back of my head, there's no holes, there's no spaces, there's nothing that shows that I don't have hair. What I love about it, and we talked about it, DHI's direct hair implant, and I saw a hairdresser, and when I told him I had a hair transplant, he goes, "Oh, turn around, I want to see your head." And he's like, "Where's the scar?" I'm like, "There's no scar because it's DHI, it's direct hair implant, which means they take it out and they put it in. Whereas the FUE and FUT, and these are more like where you're cutting, you're taking out." So and he told me normally I shave the head, but I can't shave too much because you see the line. So, I mean, overall, people who look at me don't even think that I've done my hair or need to do something.
Okay, so probably what they do is they reinvigorate the root.
Well, I'm assuming, I'm not sure.
I'm just trying to use logic here since you don't know. I'm trying to think of what they can, be doing it. So because I've known some, they pull out the root and then replant that same root somewhere else, but then you're getting rid of that in the back.
So I mean, that's
My guess is they're just pulling out the hairs and they're using those little hairs to reinvigorate the roots of already. Because even if it stops growing on your scalp, let's say on the front or on the top, the root is still there. It's just a damaged or dormant root.
I can't give you 100%. Like, we have the episode of FUE, FUT, and DHI, and I'll put in the comment box. You guys could see it because he explains it a little bit better and than I can. I don't want to get into the medical. I want to get more into the experience that I had, because a lot of people are reaching out to me with these questions. And again, guys, you don't have to be embarrassed to talk about it. You don't have to be shy to, like, a lot of people want to do it, and they're reaching out to me and they're asking me questions. And a lot of people are telling me, Nick, it's amazing that you're talking about it. For me, it's really not a big thing. I'm like, to me, this is like, so many people do treatments, especially women. There's a whole industry, and we're kind of okay with that. But with men, we're a little bit more self-conscious. It's less accepted for men, and yet there's more and more men doing these procedures.
To be honest, I never cared. Even seeing other people, like other dudes bald or balding, I was never like, oh, look at this guy, he's balding. It's just like, oh, it is what it is.
It's a personal thing. Like, if you were balding and you were experiencing it, then you would understand a little bit of how you see it. And some guys, there's bald guys out there that wear it great. And you look at The Rock and you look at Jason Statham. Some of them, it's good. The worst part is, like, for me, I'm not bald, but I have hair. That middle part is where, and I don't really look good in a shaved head.
Hold on. I would just like to clarify. If I started balding, I would absolutely lose my mind.
Yeah.
But from the exterior looking in, I'm like, oh, whatever. The guy, he's bald. Like, I don't judge other people, but like, if it were to happen to myself, I would lose my mind. So I get it, but I mean, I feel like we overdo it on ourselves.
Yeah, but you're absolutely
more
right.
Than exterior
You're
factors.
absolutely right, because we think that people are seeing what we see, and that's not it is. We all have insecurities. We all, look at things that we don't like, and we might think that other people see them because we do, but most people don't care. But this is something that you should do for you. Like, don't do it because somebody else wants you to do it.
Yeah.
You gotta do, like, I did my hair because I was like, you know what? It was starting to bother me. I had to wear my cap. I didn't like sometimes how I saw myself on camera. And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm 47 years old. I eat well, I exercise, I do everything. I'm not going to be doing Botox in my face, and I'm not coloring my hair black. This is the only thing for me that I felt really somewhat insecure about.
And for the record, until you started talking about it and you said that you're going to go do a transplant and everything, I never even noticed you were bald.
Never noticed, yeah.
I never even noticed. Like, I didn't notice the cap. You would say my hair, but I'd look at you like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
Just, I never, like, my mind never went there.
It's also, you're younger, right? So when we hit a certain age, like, and I see it with men over 40, right? When you start losing your hair, when, especially for men, they start gaining weight, they start feeling sluggish and tired, and their energy goes low. There's a whole effect to it, right? So there's things that we could control in our life. I can control how I eat. I can control to exercise, eat well, meditate, practice mindfulness, live as much as possible a low stress life. But there's certain factors, like losing my hair, I have no control.
Yeah. I think that's why I never really noticed on people's, because that is something that you can't control, but stuff that you could control, like, us and the boys, how we make fun of each other and everything. Stuff that you could control, we'd blast each other, but stuff you cannot control, I think we kind of don't see it. We're not like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right.
I think people like that in general.
And I think what's important, I think, for me to say this to men who are thinking of doing it, again, I'm not obsessed over this. I think this was something like, I've met men who, will do their hair at like 60 or like older, and they're going to color their hair. They're going to try to look like they're young again. I believe in aging gracefully as much as possible. Like that's why I'm not going to color my hair. I'm not doing facelifts and Botox and doing my lips and all this stuff. I'm very comfortable with aging, whatever it is. But this was something, and I'm not judging these people, whatever makes you happy or makes you, but for me, it was one thing that I was like, okay, this actually bothered me. And I was like, is there anything else? No, the rest, you know what? I'm going to eat well. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to keep myself fit. I'm going to do whatever I can to age nicely with things that I can control.
Age like fine wine, as they say.
Age like fine wine, you know what I mean? And guys, you could, we age well. We could do it, you know what I mean? And I say this to mostly men over 40, and I'm creating my program now, which is for men over 40, 120-day transformation. And it's a one-on-one coaching 3 times a week, where I put you through my program, right? I'm 47 years old. I still have a six-pack. I'm in top shape. And I put these men through what I've done, and the results have been there. And I believe in leading by example, right? So control what you can. You can control what you eat. You can control how many times a week you're going to exercise. You control what you're going to decide and how you're going to, what kind of lifestyle you want. But there's certain things are going to be out of your control. And those things, well, if you can do something great, if you can't, then you got to learn how to accept them. You know what I mean? So I think there's, again, I'm always promoting a healthy lifestyle, especially for men, because that's what our show is about. And, aging gracefully, aging, as best as you can. And we've done shows, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about how to reverse aging, how to slow down aging, because there's a lot of things that we could do. And there's a lot of things that I do. And again, my partner is 10 years younger, and that actually keeps me young, right? I'm motivated now I already stay in shape, but the fact that my partner's 10 years younger, I'm more motivated to stay in shape. You know what I mean? Because there's a part of me that kind of like, I want to keep up, I want to stay healthy. I don't want to be, 65 and she's 55 and I can't keep up with her. So that's also one source of motivation. And I'm going to talk about that as well.
I have a question.
Yes.
I heard online a lot of these places, after you do it, you have to take specific supplements. Is this true?
So that's a great question, actually. I'm going to be doing PRP, right? Which is plasma. I forgot what it's called, and we talk about it, which is basically they take your blood, they put it in a centrifuge, and they put it in their head to help for the growth of the hair.
Okay.
I'm not taking any medication, so I'm going to do 2 PRPs. I'm going to do one soon. Other than that, I haven't really done anything else, right? I'm not a very...
So there's multiple methods to this.
Yes. I wasn't told to take any medication. And even if I was, I wouldn't take it. I don't I know some people take Propecia.
Prosciutto.
Propecia.
Hey, just take some prosciutto and you're good. Your hair's going to grow back.
So I don't take any of that stuff. I don't like putting anything in my system.
I get it.
So for me, it's like I try to keep my system as clean as possible, and there's side effects to everything. So I'm like, you know what? I don't need it. Yeah. I'm going to do PRP. It's my blood. They put it in, and then they inject it. So I'm going to do probably 2 treatments. I'm doing one next week, actually, my first one. And that's it. Other than that, nothing else. You know what I mean?
That's really cool that you could talk about all this, because even myself, I find I'm naturally curious about things in general, even though I have no sign of losing hair.
Yeah.
I've gone down rabbit holes where I'm looking at different treatment methods for hair transplants, because I'm naturally curious.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear this point of view, because I've seen so many things online from different point of views. It's good to hear clear and concise of I did this method and this is what this method does, and etc.
Yeah, I wanted to share it because there's so much information, misinformation, and everybody's also talking. I'm talking through my experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have nothing to gain from this. I'm sharing something for men, and men reach out to me because I want to share what I felt and what I got out of this experience. Yeah. and how it made me feel and how it's changed my life. Again, you take acting classes with me, and you know, I see it when I'm on camera and I'm doing my auditions. I just feel more calm. I'm not like, the bald spot, the lighting. So, I mean, it does make a little, it makes a small, I won't even say small. It does make a big difference. For me, it made a big difference.
If it makes you happy, hey,
I know and again, guys, you have to do it for you, and don't be afraid of the judgment. And don't, you know, I had guys, bro, just shave your head. I don't want to shave my head.
yeah, like if your dumb girlfriend tells you to get a hair transplant, don't listen to her. Do it for you, bro.
You got to do it for you.
Do it for the boys.
Yeah, you can't even do it for anybody else but for you, that you want to do it, and that you and for how it's going to make you feel. So guys, on that note, if you guys have any more questions on this, you can write to me directly. I'll put my email in the comment box, because I mean, I've taken this because I want to share it with other men out there, because I know a lot of them are afraid to talk about it and don't know where to turn. So I'm always there, and that's why we have this show, Have the Balls to Talk About It, as well as I'll put the clinic DHI Greece where I did it as well. And if you guys reach out to them, you could also mention that you saw this episode, and I could also even be more than happy to help guide you through this journey, because I want to share what it's done for me. So guys, again, thanks for watching. If you have any comments, any questions, leave them in the box. We'll see you guys next week.